Welcome to English 9 Unchanging Values in the VUCA World, featuring the literary text When I Was 1 and 20 by Alfred Edward Housman, Quarter 2, Week 5. I'm Mr. Nelpron Sambalod and I am your subject teacher for this course. Literature indeed reflects the society, its good values, and its ills. In its corrective function, literature mirrors the ills of the society with a view of realizing its mistakes and making amendments. It also projects the virtues of good values in the society for people to emulate, according to Benjamin 2016. In this lesson, you will be introduced to literary pieces in order to learn how to analyze literature as means of understanding and changing values in the VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. So VUCA means again volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Let us read and analyze the poem written by Alfred Edward Housman, an English scholar and poet. After reading the poem, we will be evaluating the specific values embedded in the given text, then answer and reflect on the questions that follow. When I Was 1 and 20 by Alfred Edward Housman. When I was 1 and 20, I heard a wise man say, give crowns and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 1 and 20, no use to talk to me. When I was 1 and 20, I heard him say again, the heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid and sighs aplenty, and sold for endless rue. And I am 2 and 20, and oh, it's true, it's true. Let us now analyze the poem When I Was 1 and 20 by Alfred Edward Housman. As you can see, we only have here a very short poem that is consisted of two stanzas containing 8 lines each. Now let's go to the details in each stanza. So the first stanza, When I was 1 and 20, I heard a wise man say. So it is said there that there's a time in the life of the young speaker here. Yeah, we can say that he's still young. He's only 21. Then what was the advice he heard? Give crowns and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. So it means that what? A wise man tells him that it would be better to give away his money than to give away his heart. But the young speaker is kinda firm with his stand. But keep your fancy free. So that's the line there. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 1 and 20. No use to talk to me. So you have there the line, no use to talk to me. It signifies there the strong stand of the young man that he's in love, that he doesn't care about the advice given by the old man or by the wise man rather, but what? He's really into pursuing that love thing that he is feeling, okay? That he ignored what he heard from the old man. Okay. Then the second stanza. When I was 1 and 20, I heard him say again, the heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid with sighs aplenty and sold for endless rue. And I am 2 and 20, and oh, it's true, it's true. So what happened there in the second stanza? If in the first stanza you have there the experience of the young man falling in love, in the second stanza, you have also there another experience of the young man, but this time it is falling out of love. And also, you have here the admittance of the young man that what he heard from the wise man is indeed true. That falling in love is full of what? Pain and sadness. That's why you have there the line, "'Tis paid with sighs aplenty." So many sighs that he had when he fell in love, when he experienced that love thing. And by the time I am 2 and 20, and oh, it's true, and oh, it's true, 'tis true. according to the young man. So it's a very short poem, but we can already imagine there what was experienced by the young man, that in a very short period of time he's able to experience falling in love and falling out of love again at 21. And you there, dear students, you're grade 9. So at this very point of at this very time, you're only what? At this very period, you're only 14 turning 15. And he's already 21 and he experienced a lot already dealing with love thing. For he didn't listen to the wise man. And what more in your case that you're only 14 turning 15. So I think you have to realize something as we finish reading this poem. Okay? So let's continue analyzing the content of the poem. Let's try to understand more the poem when I was 1 and 20. So let's have the questions, reflection questions. So the first question here, what is the theme portrayed by the poem? So you have there the image, a bleeding heart. So it can be the first thing that you have in your mind, that it's all about love and about pain. For the young speaker there, fell in love, also experienced falling out of love, causing him pain. That's why, according to the wise man, love comes with a price of plentiful sighs and endless misery. So that could be the first thing that you will have in mind, that the theme of it is about love and pain. And I hope you are being reminded of it through the lines in the poem on what was experienced by the young speaker at a very short of time, falling in love and falling out of love and experiencing the pains and sadness being in that experience, or being in that period of his time. So that could be the first two themes that you might have in mind, the love and pain. So what else? What other themes we can associate to it? It can be about, yes, it can be about the wisdom that the old man has, that he's trying to pass to the young man. So you have there the wise man trying to pass the wisdom that he has gained in his lifetime to the young man. But the sad thing, the young man didn't listen to him. Then, indeed, it is an attestation to the saying that experience is the best teacher. Okay? So that's the third third possible theme of the poem. Next, it can be the experience. It's all about experience. Experiencing something makes someone learns, or experiencing something leads to realization to someone. So it can be about experience. And the last possible theme of the text or of the poem is about youth. You have the youth in the sense that uh, though though the youth are being informed of the older ones about what they should do in life, still it's very typical on them that they are kind of hard-headed, that they don't listen to older people, especially to the wise man, to the parents of them, or older relatives regarding what's being said to them. But instead, just like a youth, very what? Very much brave on doing things, on deciding on things, on experiencing things. Okay? As if they are really what? Thinking that they know already what they are in, that they will just go and go and go. Then eventually, at the end, they will realize that what was said to them is indeed correct, just like in the poem when I was 1 and 20. The next. What specific attitude of the young towards life is shown in the text? So you have there the what? The typical attitude of the youth, which is too aggressive, too impulsive when it comes to experiencing things without thinking about the consequences, or thinking about the experiences, or where they will be led by that experience or by that emotion that is containing them. So indeed, it is true that youth can be easily succumbed by the emotions that they are feeling, for they are still young. They are not yet prepared for that kind of emotion. Okay? Then number three, what specific advice was given by the wise man to the young man? That is what? For him not to fall in love yet. For it is not an easy one. It is full of what? Sighs and misery. Okay? Did the young man listen to the advice of the wise man? So, what could be our answer? At first, he didn't listen. It's very eminent in the first stanza that what? It was there was no sense talking to him because he's into it. He's really into it. But as we go on reading the poem, particularly dealing with the last line in the second stanza, eighth line, you have there the what? You have there the realization of the young man that we can use as justification that in a way he listened to the old man, to the wise man, because he's able to remember what was said to him. The sad thing, he didn't apply it at first, wherein what he had in the second stanza was just realization that the wise man is correct on what he said to him. Okay, so again, um going back to the details in the poem, at first it's given that he didn't listen to the wise man, but instead he pursued the feelings that he had. But eventually, at the end, he realized that the young man is correct, that the wise man is correct. Okay. Number five, based on the text, how does the wise man perceive life? The wise man perceived life in a way that it's kinda cruel. We can say it's kinda cruel, especially if it has something to do with love thing. Actually, we can we can assume that he's kinda pessimistic about life. But but uh, but the wise man here perceived life in the sense that having experiences will teach you about life. It's always like that. That the more experiences you have in life, then the more you become the better version of yourselves, or the better a better human, for you are learning as you go through with your journey. Okay, so again, based on the text, how does the wise man perceive life? He perceived it as a cruel life, especially if it has something to do with a love thing. Okay, so let's continue. How will you explain the idea of wisdom of elders in the given poem? So, I do believe that you can still recall what I told you about with a crown of snow, there comes wisdom. So, how will you explain the idea of wisdom of elders in the given poem? That the more experiences you will have in life, uh, mixed with mixed with the wisdom of the old, mixed with the wisdom of the old, then life would be better. So, okay. How will you explain the idea of wisdom of elders in the given poem? That's it. You listen to the wisdom of the old, then you will be what? You will be living a peaceful life, for you are already guided. That indeed it is true that with a crown of snow there comes wisdom. That it's only good to listen to wise people or to older people, for they already experienced things in life. They knew already what will happen than ignoring them. Okay? So that's the wisdom. That's the wisdom there. Okay? Experiencing a lot leads to what? Leads to wisdom. So, okay, relate your answer to your personal experiences. So, at your very age by now, there are already things that happened to you. Yeah, you were already in situations. Then you have the deja vu, as if saying that it already happened to me, then as if you knew already what to do dealing with it because you heard it from your mom, you heard it from someone else, you heard it from your teachers. So it can be like that. Okay? So relate your answers to your personal experiences. Listening to the parents of yours, of course, listening to your parents, listening to teachers and other older people who have the wisdom in them. Then, as you listen to them, you're having the wisdom is indeed being passed on you. And of course, what is more important is to make use of that wisdom. Okay, do not forget that. Let's proceed. I know that those who are voracious readers, you are now salivating, looking at that shelf full of books, of novels, books containing stories. And you know that the stories, poems, or whatever text that you can read in each book are called literary texts. And these literary texts are under literature. And what is literature? As what I told you, literature is the hopes, dreams, aspirations, emotions, and experiences of man compacted into one and written into beautiful language. So as we read literary texts, it's given that we will be learning the wisdom of the old, the wisdom of the previous generations, for they are embedded in every literary text that you have read or you will be reading. So it is said that literature serves as a pool of values. Indeed, it is a pool of values, for we can learn a lot from reading a literary text, just like reading the poem When I Was 1 and 20. It's a very short poem that but I do believe you have learned a lot from it. You have learned about living life by listening or considering what's being said by older people or particularly by wise men. So from each literary work, readers can learn various lessons which may help them in redirecting their lives. Yes, just like what happened to the young speaker in the poem When I Was 1 and 20, wherein if you read that at your age 14, 15, you read that poem, by now you have the idea that I should always listen to wise men, to older people, for they are not lying about what they experience already, and you do not want to experience the sadness, the miseries, the loneliness that that were experienced by the young man in the poem, because you found out that at the end of the poem, he admitted that the wise man was correct, that he should have obeyed or followed him. Okay? So, through the years, these positive values remain unchanged in this changing world. So, we call them positive values that as we have them, as we learn them from literary texts and we have them in life, we apply them in our life, that even though the world keeps changing because we are in the VUCA world, in a volatile rather, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. Still, as we make ourselves filled with these values, then we cannot be easily shaken. So that's why unchanged values in the Bukha world. Okay? So let us proceed. After understanding the featured text When I Was 1 and 20, let us now deal with what is this unchanging values in the Bukha world. Values are passed from culture to culture, from generation to generation. However, in this modern time, it is claimed by scientists that change in the society has been happening at a pace they have never seen before. Everything can change in just a snap. They refer to it as the VUCA world. First used in 1987, VUCA is an acronym based on the leadership theories of Warren Bennis and Bert Nanas, that stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. In a VUCA world, The most important thing is to anticipate the future and strengthen cooperation to come up with better solutions to problems and challenges. Okay? So now you know what is VUCA and how to deal with it in this changing world. Okay? So what is said there? Anticipate the future and strengthen cooperation to come up with better solutions to problems and challenges. Let us proceed. Let us talk more about this VUCA word. So again, it stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So, volatility is from the word volatile, which means likely to change in a very sudden or extreme way. So, at least you know you have an idea what's that volatility there. So, the work of Dr. Warner Burke and his research colleagues at Columbia University provides us with scientific data that learning agility ability to be flexible and be open to change and thrive on new experiences, agility, the adaptability to character. That's the basic definition of it, so that you will be easily enlightened regarding what is agility. Is made up of 9 dimensions or behavior patterns. So they include the following. So again, we will be studying now what are the 9 dimensions or behavior patterns according to Dr. Warner Burke and his research colleagues at Columbia University. So you can see you have there the light. As if it's dark, you're living in a dark world, then all of a sudden it brightens. In a snap of a finger, then there's light. So how are you going to react? So, of course, you must have there the agility, the ability to be flexible and be open to change and thrive on new experiences. So, the first in the 9 dimensions or behavior patterns is flexibility. Flexibility is the willingness to try new things. So, living in this book world, we should always be willing to try new things that we should not confine ourselves to the old us, to the old version of us, just like what's happening now. We are in the new normal, then forget the ways of life of yours in the past because you have to deal with the present. And as you live in the present, you have that flexibility. That's the first dimension or behavior pattern. Every person should be flexible so that he or she can survive in this VUCA world. Okay? Second, speed rapidly grasping new ideas, just like the image there. You have there the light bulb, and as the bulb lights, it means that there's a new idea. So you should easily grasp the new idea. We are now in the new normal, then grasp it, hug it, that you are already in the new normal. No, do no longer live in the past, but instead live in the present. Accept it. Be flexible. Be flexible on grasping the new idea that you are already in the new normal. Number three, experimenting, testing out new ideas. So that's the third behavior pattern for you to show that you have this agility, the ability to adapt, to be flexible, and be open to change and try on new experiences. So the third pattern is experimenting. It's kind of the same with those people who have lost their jobs because of the 2019 coronavirus pandemic. They didn't stop themselves, but instead they tried to experiment new things. Then by now they have new businesses. So that's a good example of this experimenting. So we should always do experimenting or trying out new ideas for us to cope with this so-called VUCA world. Okay? Number four is the performance risk taking, taking on challenges. We should always take the risk on taking on challenges. So performance risk taking, because it's one of the effects of the so-called VUCA world, the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity world. As you live in that kind of world, as we live in this kind of world, then we should be performance risk taking. So taking on challenges that whenever you are being given a new task, a new challenge, just like you from grade 8, you are now grade 9, dealing with your research class, then that's the challenge there. Face it, okay? Taking on challenges. You know that what? It's part of the VUCA world. So you have to take that challenge, okay? You have to take the risk. So those are the first four dimensions or behavior patterns for you to show that you have there the agility according to Dr. Warner Burke and his research colleagues. Let's proceed. To continue, we are now on the fifth dimension or behavior pattern, proving that indeed humans undergo this learning agility, or as humans adapt to changes, then these are the dimensions or behaviors that humans or people should show or possess. Number five, the interpersonal risk taking. So, interpersonal risk taking has something to do with asking others for help. So, it's only natural for people to ask help from others. As you do that, then it would be easy for you to adapt to the so-called VUCA world. Okay? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. So it will not be easy for you to adapt in it if you will not be asking others for help. That's why interpersonal risk taking. If on number four, you have the risk taking, the performance risk taking, wherein you are having the bravery to take the challenge. This time, you accept also to yourself that you will be needing the help of others. So that's number five. Number six is collaborating. So what do we mean by collaborating? Leveraging the skills of others. So in collaborating with others, it's important that you give credit to the skills of others. You don't just mix with them, collaborate with them, and just go on with it without even recognizing the skills of these fellows of yours in the group. So, collaborating. So, it would be easier for you. It would be much easier for you to adapt in this so-called VUCA world if you will be collaborating, if you will be possessing this sixth dimension or behavior pattern. Number seven, you have you have the information gathering. So information gathering, increasing your knowledge. So we have to continuously increase our knowledge. And how do we do it? We talk to the people around us. Of course, we go to school, we study, we deal with the people around us. Let's learn from the environment. And of course, do not forget to talk to people. Okay? That's one way of gathering information. Of course, reading. Reading literary texts, whatever kind of literary pieces, then certainly you are you are widening your knowledge. You are enriching yourself when it comes to containing or knowing more about life, more about your existence, or the things that you must know. Then by just reading, be it be it from the textbooks, be it from literary books. For as long as you are reading, then there's learning. So increase your knowledge. As you increase your knowledge, it will be easy for you to adapt in the VUCA world. And again, you will not be easily shaken, particularly your values. Okay? The number eight, the feedback seeking, asking for feedback. Just like in the process of communication, it's very important that a communication is not just a one-way process, but it's always a two-way process wherein after the speaker gives his ideas, then you have you there as a listener, then you will be providing your feedback. So it's always important for you to listen to the feedback of the people around you so that you can always change yourself for the better, so that you can always reflect on the things that you are in. You can always make decisions if you are still going to pursue on what you are doing based from the feedback that you heard. Okay? So, are you still going to possess the set of values that you have? Or it's about time for you to reevaluate them and forget some and adapt new ones and live accordingly in the VUCA world. Okay? So, feedback seeking. Then lastly, we have the reflecting. Taking time to reflect on your effectiveness. That's why it's very important that before the day ends, you always make reflection on what you have experienced, what have what you have went through. And as you keep on doing that, then it will be easy for you to adapt again in the VUCA world, in the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. And as you possess these dimensions or nine behavior patterns, then indeed you have this so-called learning agility, according to the team of researchers coming from Columbia University. Okay, so again, those are the nine dimension or behavior patterns. Let us proceed. As we read the poem When I Was 1 and 20 by Mr. Housman, I hope that the knowledge, that the wisdom you have gained from the poem will be adapted and applied by you as you go on living. Before you reach 21 or as you reach 21 and encounter the same experience, I do hope that you know what to do. Despite the book world, despite the trend that we have nowadays when it comes to falling in love, when it comes to the relationships that are existing among youngsters, I hope that the wisdom shared by the wise man to the young to the young speaker, will be instilled in your mind so that your values will not be easily shaken, will not be easily shaken by the VUCA world, by what is the trend that we have, but by the changes that we have. I hope that you will preserve that positive values in you, that despite having that kind of situation, still you know what to do. You will be activating your knowledge that you have gained or the information gathered that you gained from the read text of ours when I was 1 and 20. Truly, literature provides us with a range of exposure and experiences that may open doors to understanding these unchanging values amid the fast-paced VUCA world. Beowulf is a piece of literature that reflects these values, which still thrive despite the modern changes in the society. So, in the continuation of our discussion, of our presentation, we are going to read the text Beowulf. So, be excited on reading the text, but you can start watching the shared link to you, the animated Beowulf movie, so that the more you will understand that literary text, for it's an interesting literary text that truly depicts the unchanging values in a changing world. Yeah, the unchanging values in the changing world or in the VUCA world. Okay, so let us proceed. Thank you. May you have learned a lot. Good day and God bless.